Hey, welcome back to the Fire and Water Cooking Channel. I am Darren, of course, and today I'm going to answer an age-old question. I get this all the time in the Facebook group is, can you sous vide in the store-bought package? Okay, and we're actually going to try that today, but we're going to have a little caveat, but I'll be right back and show you how we're going to do it.
Smoking, grilling, getting hot and hotter, sous vide and chilling from fire and water.
All right, guys, I get this question all the time in the Facebook groups, and I see it all the time. People ask me, can you sous vide in store-bought packaging? Well, I always tell them, you really shouldn't, but you can if you do it a certain way, and if there's some other things going on in the package that make it okay. So first of all, if you want to, you really don't have to, and it's really not recommended to sous vide in the store-bought package. I got 4 chuck eye steaks here that we're going to go ahead and do this in, but I'm going to show you how I did it. I actually took the individual packets here from, I got 4 really nice looking chuck eye steaks from Porter Road, and I'm going to actually sous vide them in the Porter Road package, but I actually vacuum sealed them into another bag. So a lot of people ask this question to save a bag, which I think is ridiculous, to save, at the max 10 cents for a plastic bag, for a zipper, or for either a Ziploc bag or a vacuum seal bag. One of the things with store-bought packaging, you don't know the integrity of the package. If it has a micro hole in it or what have you, it could have, from being tossed around on the shelf, people picking it up, putting it down, it could always have a little, hole in it that you don't know about. Also, it could have these little moisture grabber, little, toilet papery type things that are in a lot of the store-bought meat to soak up all the juices that are in the packaging. You don't want that in there cooking with your meat. Another reason I don't do it 90% of the time, or all the time pretty much for me, is you don't have the ability to brine or dry brine or brine your food at all, or even put any kind of seasoning on it. But I went ahead and I said, all right, I'm going to do it for this video just to show people that you can do it if you do it a certain way. First of all, like I said, make sure if you are going to do it that there is no or moisture grabber in there that's going to affect it. Also, make sure that, as far as you can tell, the packaging is secure, but I always recommend go ahead and vacuum seal it anyway, especially with something like this, because there's a big sticker on the outside of the pack. And what's going to happen if you drop this in the water without putting it in another bag, this sticker is going to come off and it's going to gum up your sous vide. It's going to get in the water. You have to change your water out sooner, and it could affect the your sous vide circulator. It could mess it up and gum up the work. So it's another reasons why I don't do it. But I'm going to go ahead and do these chuck eye steaks for 4.5 hours. I've got them all vacuum sealed up again already. Like I said, they're in their package, but this is the only way I would ever do it. If you want to vacuum seal in the package for some reason, make sure you re-vacuum seal it. That's the only thing that I would recommend. Like I said, the benefits of doing this really is not really many to me. If you're doing it just to save a bag, that's kind of silly. Like I said, I won't be able to brine these or season these up before I put them in the sous vide bath now. So I'm gonna have to do that when they come out. But I'm gonna go ahead. These are ready to go. I'm gonna stick them in there. My temperature is coming up. So I'll see you guys in 4.5 hours, and I'll show you what these look like when they come out of this packaging. I'll be back when these are done. I'll go ahead and put them in right now. And then I will see you guys in 4.5 hours when they're done. I'll be back. All right, guys, I manually set my Joule at 134 for 4.5 hours, so I'll see you guys back when it's done. All right, well, it's time to take these out of the bath, and we're going to go ahead and see how they turned out. Like I said, I've always said you can do this, but I highly recommend you don't. But there's always going to be those that like to argue, and there always has been, to try to save a dollar. They will want to do this. So let me get these out of the bag. I just wanted to show you that no water got in or anything, because I did put these in a vacuum seal bag, even though they were already in their own packaging. But I'll be right back. I'll get these out of the bag and show you what they look like. All right, guys, I got these out of the bag, and as you can tell, since I wasn't able to salt them or season them in any way, they look kind of red. And we are going to pat these dry just like we normally would any steak, just so we can get a really good sear on them with that open flame on my PK grill, which I got going right now, really, really hot. So if you guys aren't familiar with what a chuck eye is, it is kind of like the chuck steak and a ribeye had a baby, because it actually comes from right where the ribeye and the chuck meet, and it's about a 3-inch section there that's got a little bit of both. So it's got a little bit of the chuck and a little bit of the ribeye. Not quite as much of the spinalis as a ribeye would have, but it has some of the tendencies of a chuck and some of the tendencies of a ribeye, so which makes it a very tasty, fairly tender. I wouldn't say it's quite as tender as a ribeye, but it's not far off. Salt, pepper, garlic, guys, that's all I'm putting on here. And so it's actually a pretty good cut. It doesn't cost as much as a ribeye. It's also known as a Delmonico steak. When the original Delmonico's restaurant created their Delmonico steak, that's what this was from. It's the chuck eye. So you can see it listed sometimes as a Delmonico. Some places call Delmonico, ribeyes Delmonico, the whole ribeye. But technically, if you look it up, you'll see that Delmonico's, the steakhouse that originally came up with that term, actually used the chuck eyes. So as you can tell, these are tied. I got these from Porter Road, so they do have the meat twine on there. So you got to remember that when you cook these, that they actually do that to keep these into a nice round shape here. So I'm going to let this salt, pepper, and garlic kind of sit on here for a minute, and then I've got my fire on the PK grill going really, really well right now. It's super hot, so these aren't going to sit on there very long at all. So I'm going to go ahead, take you over to the grill, and then we'll get these seared up and take a test bite, see how they are. All right, I'll be right back. All right, guys, my grill is ready. I'm going to put a little duck fat spray on each side of these steaks just to give them a nice crisp crust on them. Nice Maillard reaction overall on this. I said this is a really, really hot flame. It's one of the things I love about the PK. It can get super hot. So it won't take long for these to get nice and seared. We're going to go ahead and take them off, take a bite, see how they turned out. I'll be right back. All right, guys, let's take a look at these. Pretty awesome. Nice and juicy. Nice Maillard reaction. So let's put 3 of them out here. How's that? And those are looking pretty. Whew. All right, chuck eye steaks, cooked in the store package, but with a little caveat. I'm going to go ahead and cut this right open here. Remember, we got that twine, so don't eat that. But check this out. Look how nice and medium rare that still is. I'm going to actually get a close-up of that so you guys can see it. There you go. So all that marbling in there. So tender, the knife went right through it. Good to go ahead, take a bite of that. Let me cut a little bit of that big chunk of fat off of there. I don't want that in my mouth. Wow. Could have been a little bit better with a little bit more time for that to brine. Usually when you cook it with the salt in the bag, it'll brine into the meat and penetrate all the way deep into it. But it's pretty good with just the seasonings on the outside, but I prefer to brine it. But you can do it, guys, so check it out. Just do it the way I showed you so you can protect yourself. Make sure you don't have any leakage. Make sure you don't have any discoloration of the meat from the moisture diapers that they put in there. But check it out, guys. Check out Chuck Eye Steaks from Porter Road. See you again on the next Fire and Water cooking video.